Hi there, my name is Pramarth. I'm working as a senior security engineer in Xenonstack. I'm working under SRE squad, and while working in the security terms, we have to monitor, we have to capture a lot of things in daily use. And while talking about it, we came up with a problem statement, which is with the increase of web applications, we are using web application every now and then, and there comes the security part. There has so many vulnerabilities in web applications, and hacker wants to take the unauthorized access of the sensitive data. And when we see all those things, and when we are when our platform team, when our deploying, or whatever development team is developing codes, they are facing issues with the vulnerabilities, and we want a solution regarding that. So we came up with the solution of Stackhawk. When we talk about traditional approaches of security tools, there are some things which can't be managed by traditional approaches, and in that term we has to be assured about dynamic terms and dynamic security tools which can work on the fly as well. So when we talk about Stackhawk as a solution of web-based application and their vulnerabilities, we talk about the tools which can work as a test, and which is a good solution because it's a dynamic tool. Stackhawk is a powerful security tool which is designed to help to identify and to check on the vulnerabilities. It has two parts. There is a Stackhawk scan, and there is a Stackhawk platform. When we talk about the scan can work whenever we are integrating something into the Stackhawk, whether it is a CI/CD pipeline, whether it is a code, whether it is your infrastructure. You can integrate anything in the Stackhawk, and we can scan it through if you want to scan in the real time as well, you can scan it. So when we infuse both these things, after scanning we can see the results in the platform. And when we talk about the results, we can see what vulnerabilities are there, we can check on the findings, we can check on the results as well, and we can provide a solution. Like for example, there is a vulnerability which is coming for log4j, then we can check for the policy name log4j shell, and for that solution we can look into the solutions, like how we can mitigate that vulnerability, how we can come up with a solution for that vulnerability, and how we can try to assess our code which can work fine for other terms. Great to know that you can scan your services and read for the potential vulnerabilities. But when we talk about services scanning, this is kind of a layman term. We are using it as we are scanning every now and then. But why not we can scan on the fly? Why not we can scan on the real time? Why not we can just check the deploy the code, deploy the CI/CD pipeline in the Stackhawk, and whenever the code is checking, whenever you are taking a change in the code, you can scan it through in the real time as well. So there comes the integrations of a Stackhawk, and we can talk about the integrations a lot because there are several things Stackhawk as a tool it is providing. If we talk about the integration, we can integrate Jenkins into it, we can integrate Jira, we can integrate AWS solution, cloud solutions. There are lots of things into it. While talking about the integration, Stackhawk can be integrated with software development cycle in the real time. So while being in the real time, we can see the potential vulnerabilities on our platform, Stackhawk platform, and it is providing a good compliance opportunity where we can see the vulnerabilities and analyze them on the fly. And when we talk about the analysis part, all this definition comes into the automation thing, that Stackhawk is an automation security testing tool which is providing a good solution to our problem statement. We have talked about the solution, but we also want to look into the security terms. So when we talk about the security, there are a lot of things comes under the perspective of people. They empathize security, but they don't understand the security very often. When we talk about developers, for example, so what they do is, while writing the code, they can write access keys, they can write password, usernames, And there are lots of simple things we forgot while writing codes, and when we are like deploying it, we are making it live, and on live session these can be harsh thing on the deployment, and that can affect the organization, that can affect the deployment, and that can affect the tool as well. And when we talk about this solution as specific, Stackhawk can provide us a well-defined solution which is providing a purpose full tool which is giving us the attackers sessions. So for example, if you want to assess what attacker is want to do, what if we want to assess our credentials, if we want to assess our like database, whatever it is, the tool can provide us that integration, the tool can provide us that the light what solution it is. And when we talk about the forensics of it, when we are going through the findings and when we want to assess and mitigate the attack session, and talking about the solution, Stackhawk provides us links as well where we can see the solutions for the same. For example, there's an attack of Log4j, what we talked about earlier. We can see the solution as well in the links. So we can go through the solution and then make the changes in our deployment code and CI/CD pipelines and make them effective for our use. And after this, the solution is much more, we can say, secured. For example, we can't say that it's 100% secured, but Stackhawk has the reputation that is providing a 95% of security to the code. And if we talk about the application as well, all the application integrated with Stackhawk comes under the security of Stackhawk, and this tool provides a good responsive security to it. So that's it about this Stackhawk security tool. Previously we have discussed about the solution part of Stackhawk. Let's move towards the implementation part. When we talk about the implementation, I want to give an architectural overview of it first. So this is the architectural overview of a Stackhawk. When we talk about a Stackhawk, majorly it's an scan, and it's a scan of your code, your building code, your test code, release code, monitoring that code and deploying that code. So whatever life cycle that code is having, we are scanning it, and we are talking about the vulnerabilities while scanning. So if we gist about this, we can say that it's a software testing for the people who loves to deploy their softwares every day. And when we talk about the architecture, it's whole the software life cycle of it, and how we can scan it and how we can perform the implementation as well. So when we talk about the implementation on like how we are implementing Stackhawk, we discuss it further, right? So it's a combination of accelerated learning, giving a solution, like new services and solution, and how we are implementing it. So when we go through the solution and we see how the scan is going, how the platform is performing, how we can visualize that scan results into the platform, and how we can mitigate through the attack sessions and vulnerabilities, seeing the platform and seeing the visualization of it. This is the CLI section of Hawk scan. If you can see, this is Hawk help command, which is providing us different help section. So if we talk about the usage, you can just put the Hawk command, its option, and then arguments. When we talk about the commands, it is providing a init command, scan command, validate command, download command, list command, register command, rescan, and version of it. So for the version command, you can see the version of Hawk scan. For the rescan command, you can rescan the scan whatever you have done previously. From the register command, this is a custom plugin. With this, you can uniquely identify the ID of it and register it to the integrations. When we talk about the list, it lists the resources of Hawk Scanner. And when we talk about the download Hawk Scan files and more. If we talk about validate, validates the configuration files and more about the configurations also. When we talk about the scan, this is the major part of it, how we are scanning the whole system. So running that scan application, whether it is an application or API, you can run a scan through it and check for the results. From this section, you can see the commands and usage and whatever options you are having. So for example, for options, you are having an option of API keys. You can provide an API key to the command. You can have an edge option, which is a help option, and you can see all those things, and you can go through the different uses of it. And if we talk about the example, hawk scan and arguments, giving arguments. If it like for example you want to scan Xenonstack website, you can provide the Xenonstack website's argument and you can scan the application on the plane. I just talked about that you can scan your application of Xenonstack. So a company's application, what like you have a public facing application of Xenonstack, we can scan that from hawk scan. So this is how we can do it. We can crawl the hawk scan towards the Xenonstack.com, and these are the results we have. For example, the spider crawler gives us 2785 URLs of Xenonstack, and they are different URLs, each one having different things. For example, there are forms into your application, there are different previews into your application, there can be different time zones as well, US time zones, Europe, there can be a language difference into it. You can see in the English, Russian, or whatever language it is, the application gives us the liberty of it. So you can see all those URLs after scanning. It may take a while because it's kind of a scanner. It is like giving a sync scan towards your application. So it takes time, but it will provide you the exact URLs, whatever you are using in your application. And then after crawling all those URL, it starts a scanner to see the potential vulnerabilities. So for example, if you have 2785 URLs, it is again active scanning those URLs and finding out that there are 51 URLs which can have a potential vulnerability. And on those 51 URLs, it will be giving again a passive scan, and after completion of that passive scan, you will see the results of the vulnerabilities, how vulnerabilities are coming, what vulnerabilities are it, whether it is like there are three types of it, like it is a low level vulnerability, very high risk vulnerability, or a riskful vulnerability only. So where we have to see if it is a high risk vulnerability, we have to mitigate as soon as possible, and for that we will see the platform. So after this we will see the results in the platform. Previously I talked about the scanner, how it is working in the CLI part, and now we'll talk about the platform and how we can visualize the scan results into our platform and how we can see the results in it. So for example, we have like scans in Xenonstack website, and it is a production based website. So if you talk about it, you can like have the application into the deployment mode, you can have it in live session, and whether it is like in the early phase of it, you can scan in the early phases as well. But this right now is a production based web application. So on the production itself, we have made a scan into it, and these are the results. For example, there is one high risk vulnerability, 54 medium vulnerability, 33 low vulnerabilities. When we talk about low vulnerabilities, these are rather upgradation of your libraries, few like upgrade or update of your commands. These are basically low risk vulnerability. That doesn't matter at all. But we will talk about high vulnerabilities. There is a remote OS command injection into our application. So what it does is, like for example, if you are providing a different resources into your application itself. For example, there is an application www.xenonstack.com. You can provide /percentage ls percentage. While providing that ls, you can have the resources of your database, which is a production based of your application, and you can have as an attacker, you can have that resources. You can attack that database and can take the access of it. While doing so, you can also have the access of the server as well. So this is a high risk vulnerability, as you have known from the name as well. And if we talk about it, it can have major challenges for the organization, because from only a production based application, the attacker can take the access of the server as well. So it is kind of a high risk for the organization. So how we can this is kind of a very high challenge. How we can mitigate it? While seeing the vulnerability criticality, you can have clicking onto it, and you can check for the findings as well. and what changes you have to make in the application so that you can mitigate that attack. So in this solution, we are having a remote code injection. So we have to update our database, we have to secure our keys. There has to be some keys which is in the public facing while on the production as well. So like for the code as well, there can be a API key or a secret key which is in our code, and attacker can access it from if we can say from the Java Lang library, for example. So there is a Log4j vulnerability. Botnet are scanning through the public domain. So as a Mirai botnet or Mitre botnet attack, it can access the API key, the secret key of the Xenonstack website, and after accessing that secret key, it can take the access by brute forcing or using any other attack. There can be a password spray attack onto our servers, and they can access the database as well. This is kind of a high risk vulnerability, and for mitigation of it, you find the solution of that Log4j vulnerability. You can make the changes in the application, and after making that changes, you can publish it, and then it is good to go. I'm more of a talking for one finding only, but when we talk about the integration, there are lots of integration into it. So if your application is working on the cloud and it is integrated to some database, for example PostgreSQL or SQL or SQLite 3 database, there are lots of challenges on the integration as well. So when we integrate several different resources into Stackhawk, we can have the solutions of it. So when we talk about cloud, there are challenges of we have to assess different security purchases, and then only we can see the attack sessions or logs or whatever it is. But from the Stackhawk integration, it is providing a very minimal cheap tool, and for the first 14 days it is providing a free trial on which you can see your organization, or you can see the results for your cloud or Kubernetes or whatever infra you are having. So you can see the results, and then you can find solutions of criticalities coming under branch of your infrastructure. Security testing is very critical part of the organization, and when you want to test your codes, and when you want to test your web application, you want to test your infra, there has to be some dynamic tool which is working under it, and Stackhawk is the best solution for it. Recently we have covered the implementation part of Stackhawk. Now we can talk about how this task is helping me out in my day-to-day life. As a security engineer, Stackhawk helped me to identify and remediate the vulnerabilities in web applications. It is reducing my time and effort in security testing, and in day-to-day life, I can look into the critical infrastructure and vulnerabilities of whatever is coming into our organization. And Stackhawk is working on its automation. I'll just look into the platform and see the results of it, and after seeing the result, I can just go through the criticality of it and mitigate through the solutions. And we talk about what value it is providing to our customers. We can thoroughly say that we add a value to the customer by providing a security tool which is a powerful tool. It helps them to identify and remediate vulnerabilities in the web applications in real time, and we can say that we help them to maintain the compliance with security and standards and reduce the risk of security breaches. Through Stackhawk, we are providing a very thorough value to the customers, as it is a powerful tool which is providing in real-time vulnerabilities of web applications, and through that it is maintaining the compliance and standards of security, providing a good solution to the risk of security breaches. To this, we have talked about the problem statement, the solution, and the implementation of Stackhawk. So while concluding, I can say that Stackhawk is a powerful tool which is providing a solution for our day-to-day vulnerabilities into our web applications, and we can look into it in the real time through the platform, and we can also look into the CLI as well. And when we talk about the digital era of India, or whether it is a world digital era, there is a lot of use of web application. There are vulnerabilities coming every day, and we can talk about it through zero-day vulnerability or whatever it is. So if we have a known vulnerability or unknown vulnerability, Stackhawk is a tool we can look after. By utilizing Stackhawk features and its security patterns, we can say that businesses, individual and customer can rely on this tool and can make their data and system secure. This tool I found out in my experimental Saturday task, and this is a very great initiative by Xenonstack. While working through this tool, I got to know that there are many tools I can go through, and these experimental Saturday tasks can help me out to explore those tools, and it enhances my skill set also, and which is good for my client as well. If there is a solution I need to cover up with the web application vulnerabilities, I can surely assure the client to work through Stackhawk. So this is a very great initiative with Xenonstack. This is a great initiative by Xenonstack, and it is helping individual to upskill their knowledge regarding tools and technologies in the real world. Thank you.